Hi guys, how we doing? Welcome back to the Free Hammers podcast. And yes, you are seeing things right. That is Lee. Lee is actually back this week. And wow, am I glad that Lee chose this week to come back, because you might have all seen, I woke up this morning to a massive barrage of a Twitter war. It had all kicked off. Didn't know anything about it. So apparently Lee had some opinions, and we thought, should we just sort of not talk about it? Should we just dismiss it? But we thought, no, we're going to address it. And I'm really excited actually to to have this conversation. So I actually have my popcorn. I have a drink. I have a beer. So Lee, tell us about your experience with In the Nose.
Hello everyone. It's good to be back. So this morning on the way to work, and it was like 6:15 in the morning or something ridiculous like that, I put out a tweet that said that I was getting a bit fed up with the rumours. Actually, what I said was, I can't believe how much is going on. We haven't even played the last game of the season yet. And after that, I said, don't trust the NEOs, don't trust newspapers, and only believe it when it's on the official site. In my opinion, that was a factual statement, is that until it's on the official site, it's not true. And it was picked up by someone, we'll know who thought that it was directed at them. Now, before I move on to the actual reasons for the tweet, can I just say that in no circumstances whatsoever was it directed at any one person or any show or anything like that. We're quite a small little show. We have no reason to feel like we need to sabotage someone else's show. We wouldn't have the power to do that. We're too small a channel to do that. It was just my opinion. I was putting my opinion out. It was early in the morning. Your brain doesn't quite function. I hadn't had a coffee yet. I was on that awful train line that goes between Gidea Park and Stratford. And I just said what I was thinking, because I sat there that morning. I was clicking through Twitter and I saw rumour after rumour. And so this is getting on to the main point, is that it just makes people angry. So it just gives another reason for people to hit the owners. I'll give you an example. So we were linked with John Ruddy, was one, who I don't believe for 1 second will sign. But a thing went out, and I don't know who did it. It could have been a newspaper, it could have been one of the West Ham accounts, I don't know. Anyway, something went out, and then people started getting angry. There's too much crap in the world to give people another reason to get angry over someone who someone has said we may potentially sign. And that was the point I was trying to get across this morning, is that it just makes people angry. And the fact of the matter is, and the bottom of that tweet is truthful. Don't believe it until it's on the official website. So don't get angry, because if it says we're going to sign someone, it doesn't mean that we're not going to sign someone else. It's just I don't know. So the second half of it is, and we'll get into this a bit more, is that sometimes team news can be put out, and I said about this in our group chat earlier. And for me, if I was Burnley and I saw, again, as an example, a young player was going to be playing at centre half on Sunday, I'd be saying, right, I'm going to tell my brute of strikers. They've got a couple whose name escaped me, the Welsh one, and Ashley Barnes is one, and the Welsh guy. Can't remember his name. Anyway, they're big, and I'm going to say to them, they're playing an 18-year-old, 17-18-year-old kid, get on him and smash him from the first minute, and that's their tactics. So you may as well, in my opinion, write an email to Burnley and say, dear Mr. Dyche, on Saturday we're going to play a very inexperienced centre half. Make sure you play your big two brutes of centre forwards and give him one hell of a ride. It's the equivalent of that, in my opinion. So let me just sum all this up. I think, in my opinion, and that is the key thing here, and the key thing about all of this, is that every single person on this planet is entitled to an opinion, and you cannot say someone else's opinion is right or wrong, because it is an opinion. You can have an opinion that their opinion is right or wrong, but you cannot categorically say that it was right or wrong, unless it is a factual thing that person is saying and they're getting a fact wrong. And the fact of the matter is, my tweet said, do not believe something until it's on the official website. And that is truth. Okay? It doesn't matter what anyone comes out with. it is not truth until it's on the official website. And if people want to think that we were trying to call people out, I go back to my first thing I said on this. We're not that sort of channel. Watch our shows. We might row between each other, but we've known each other for 20 odd years. That's acceptable. So on the show, we may have arguments, but we're never ones to call out other people on Twitter. We don't do that. Okay. But by God, as you saw this morning, we're willing to defend ourselves if people think we're doing that. And it's not. It wasn't aimed at anyone in particular. I'm going around in circles a bit now, so I'm going to stop and bring you two in. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I want to go back to the days where you couldn't even find out a pre-season friendly result until the next day in the newspaper. Maybe Twitter has taken over football, and I think that's quite a good way to lead into a discussion.
Well, couple of things. Couple of things. First of all, I can't let that slide, right? Opinions can be wrong. I don't care what, right? That's nonsense. It's an opinion, so it can't be wrong. That's nonsense. If I said, in my opinion, the world is flat. No. You can't argue that. It's my opinion.
That's not true.
I said unless it's a fact. Now we all know that.
If it's then, it's not an opinion, is it?
That's not an opinion. No. So I don't see your point.
But it's saying like so you're saying, and what opinion do you disagree with? That's what I'm asking. Like, so what opinion did you see that you disagree with?
So I don't understand the question. Sorry.
Well, I didn't understand why you were saying that about opinions in the first place. What opinion do you?
Oh, my opinion is that I don't trust In the Nose and I don't trust the newspapers.
Oh right, yeah, obviously, yeah. No, that's obviously
that's my opinion. Other people do, but that is my opinion, and I'm entitled to it.
That's right. I just didn't understand that from yourself there, so I wanted that cleared up.
I was getting a bit right.
No, I mean, so just to put another side on it, I know exactly what you're saying, and Twitter and rumours and everything has sort of taken over now. I have to say, I'm actually one of those people that do enjoy it. I love reading from the inner nose. The thing is like what you're saying is right though. You read these things, and I take it that these people are putting stuff out there in good faith. You know, they're putting this information out there in good faith. As far as they know, it's correct. Things can change, and things do change. Like you say, Lee, you can't get annoyed if things do change, because that's just the way of the world. But at the same time, you can't come out and say something's 100% definitely done if it ain't. But I do. I enjoy it. I love reading like bits from In the Nose, various different In the Nose. I have to say, I don't really use Twitter at all. I don't go on our own Free Hammers Twitter. I caused my own row a while back, and since then I haven't touched it. I haven't been on it at all. And me personally, I don't use Twitter, but I like going on the West Ham forums. I mention on the show all the time. I'm always on these at Mother Brown, and I love reading the bits from the In the Nose over there. You know, it's great. Because it gives us something to talk about. You know. I kind of know what you're saying. Like, yeah, sometimes I do wish it could go back to the days of you don't know you've signed until it's on the official site. But that's quite boring as well. It is nice to have something to talk about, and it's nice to have things to get. As long as you don't take it too seriously, I think. As long as you don't start, like you say, Lee, getting angry when something don't come off, or when we're linked with this player or that player. Take it with a pinch of salt. Do you know what I mean?
So can I just jump in? Sorry, I'll just jump into that point. The problem I have at the moment is that, say someone puts out something, okay, that says we're going to sign Batshuayi, as an example. Don't know if that's true or not. As an example, straight away people will reply, no, we won't, because our board are tight. Or, no, we won't, we'll end up signing Grant Holt. Or
that's got nothing to do with the person putting that information out there. That's all to do with the people's mentality that's replying.
No, 100% agree, but it's another stick to beat West Ham with.
Yeah, but that's I know what you're saying, but that's not that person who's putting that information out there's responsibility. They are not the club. It's like us. We can say stuff. It's not our responsibility to defend the club and to make sure that the club, you know, are held in this high regard and all the rest of it. That's not our job. So if someone's got information and they want to put that out there, that's up to them to do that. And if people take that the wrong way, that's up to them. That's them people's fault. And if the board hadn't done so much wrong already, maybe they wouldn't be getting so much stick for things like that, whether it's right or wrong. Do you know what I mean?
But as an example, so let's take Batshuayi. Now, apparently we nearly had him last season, and we were out moneyed. We was out
moneyed, out status, out everything
by Chelsea. Yeah. Why should we even know that information?
But again, I'm just going to jump in. I think it's the most I've ever not spoke on this channel. in terms of the Michi one, Lee, that was Jack that put that out with the shirt.
Yeah, but in my opinion, he's the same as the In the Nose because he's not West Ham.
Is that yeah? All right. Yeah. I was
He's
just going to say that wasn't an In the Know. That was Jack that did that with the tease of the shirt, weren't it?
And you know, I get there is maybe I'm split in half. Maybe there is a young part of me and an old part of me. The balding part of me says, let's go back to none of this. Let's stop it all. And for my part, I can't quite see what those that do it get out of it.
Well, they obviously get fame, don't they, and coverage.
It's not even necessarily that. Obviously, there's a side to it of that. There's a side of people, I'm sure. And again, I'm not mentioning any names. I'm not aiming this at any specific people. There's a lot of West Ham Twitter accounts out there. I don't follow any of them. I'm not aiming this at any particular people. But of course, there are people out there that do it for attention. There's people that do it to get likes and to get retweets, same as anything else. But at the same time, there's also people just putting information out there because they want to share it with other West Ham fans.
I think there is a genuine voice of the fans. West Ham Fan TV being one of the main ones. They are a voice of the fans. They're not doing it for money or anything like that. I think Jay also, sort of one of those sort of guys, maybe Hammer's chat, but I don't know. There are a few out there. There's a few. But again, their opinion, they're allowed to do what they want.
Yeah, I think that's the point. Is anyone could do what they like, and freedom of speech says that I could have put that tweet out this morning and not get the abuse we got back. I'm sorry.
No, but no. Yes and no. I'm not being funny, right? It's the same. It works both ways. By us being on this show, and by us having a YouTube channel, and by us having a Twitter account, we're putting ourselves out there. You know what I mean? If we're going to share our opinions, we have to be able to take when people don't agree with us.
Okay, let me rephrase then. I should have been able to put that tweet out this morning and not be told that I was attributing it to one particular person.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
So on that,
can I say something else? If you disagree, come on and debate us in an adult way. Come on the show and tell us or tell me why you think that I'm wrong. Tell me why my opinion is wrong. Don't get into a slanging match on Twitter or anything like that. Come on and have a debate and talk about it in an adult and proper way instead of the things we see on Twitter, which is that people are so quick, and we'll do it. People are very quick to turn to name calling, and it does happen. And it's part of the human reaction, I guess. Is if you don't like something, you get sort of backed into a corner, and your way out of it is name calling. And it does happen. We all do it. We all get annoyed, and we have bad days, and it happens. But debate it in a proper way. Do it the right way. If you disagree with something, then debate it. Don't just throw accusations all over the place.
I just want to say as well, just to clear this up, because obviously most people wouldn't know this, but yeah, again, I was asleep throughout all of it this morning anyway. But the parties involved, we have spoken privately now, and things are, as far as I'm aware, sorted. Like there's no issues between anyone with this channel or any other sources. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Right.
And it shouldn't have come to that. There shouldn't have been a bit of problem. I was putting that my opinion, and I stand by it. I stand by the tweet's still there. We haven't deleted the tweet. It's still there. I stand by it.
Yeah. No, the one thing I will defend Leon, I do not think there was any goading from that tweet, in my opinion. Again, my opinion. The other people may have their opinion on that tweet, but in my opinion, that was not directed at anybody. But
it wasn't. It wasn't. Hand on heart, it was not directed at any people. Okay, anyone, any people, any show, anything. It just wasn't. I was flicking through Twitter this morning, and I just saw so many rumours, and they weren't all from the same person. They were from different people, and I saw them, and I was just getting a bit frustrated. So I put that out. So what? Get on with your life.
Well,
seriously,
we've said in this channel the whole time over the last sort of 6 or 7 episodes that we just want it to be quiet this year, didn't we? We wanted it, no news from the ball, no talking, and just boom on the club. So just on that, before we move on, guys, just a little something like how detrimental or positive do you find Twitter and these in the nose then? What is their positive impact? What is the detriment?
I mean, like, if for me, I could say, like I say, I love reading the in the nose news. You know, I don't take everything as gospel. There are some sources you read and you trust, like you start building up a trust to these people, and that, like, you do take some of them with a bit of weight, but at the same time, like Lee says, it's right. Nothing's done until it's on the official site. When they're pictured holding the shirt up on the official site, that's when it's done. But still, I love reading. I love seeing players that we're linked with. I love seeing players that we might sign, things that might happen. It's interesting, do you know what I mean? And it gives us something to talk about as well. It'd be pretty boring on this show if we didn't have any gossip, shall we say, to talk about week in, week out.
That's a very different thing. Talking about, so a name gets put out there, and talking about whether you'd like to sign him is one thing, and that's something what we do on this channel.
Yeah,
we don't build up our hopes.
I agree with that, because we were sort of called out. So can I just finish? I think you're probably going to say the same thing, but we was called out as if to say that we drop in like we're going to sign. What we do on this channel is we see the rumours or the paper snippets and we discuss whether we would like to sign that player. Never on this channel at any point have we said we are going to sign. Just to put that out there.
And in fact, every video, Paul's done quite a few transfer videos, you always start them by saying, none of this is me, I don't know facts, and think, don't you? Every single time.
Yeah.
So and as far as possible, and you can look back over our videos, there's enough of them, you'd be pretty bored to do that, frankly, but you could, and we always, if we are relaying a piece of information, we always attribute it to the person who does it, always.
Yeah.
And if we don't, it's a fraudulent slip, it's an accident. So
we never claim exclusive or our news. I know that Paul always goes, oh, reliable source jinxed, or I always go, oh, that was Jay's opinion from Hammer and Talk. I'm never ever going to steal people's material, and I just want to clear that up, because we're not there to do that. It's an opinion show, and that's it.
I just want to say as well, I do think there's a big difference to say, like, I know what you say about, we have said the last few weeks in a row, we want the board to just be quiet and not say, right, we're signing Neymar this year, we're signing whoever, and just to get it done. That I agree with still, obviously, but I do think there has to be a distinction between the club and basically everybody else. Like,
no, I agree.
That's why I will say the thing that the club used to do, that the bowling insider, the club's own in the know on the website, that was ridiculous. That was embarrassing, in my opinion. That was embarrassing. That was wrong to be doing, and I'm glad that they scrapped that. But as far as anyone who's not actually affiliated with a club, they're not being paid by the club.
They can do whatever they want.
They can do what they want. You know what I mean? If I will say, if you have, and again, I will say, I know it's slightly different, but the likes of Jack and Dave Sullivan, when they're coming out and saying things as well, I don't really agree with that, because as much as they're not the club, let's be honest, they are, obviously. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? When it's the club and it's the people that are actually in and running the club saying things, then I think there's an issue. When it's other people and it's people that maybe work with people who are in the club or whatever, who get little bits of information and just want to share it with other West Ham fans, I think there's a distinction to be made there. Do you know what I mean? I think it's different.
Yeah.
Can I just end this and put a question out, which I hope people will answer in the comments below? And I think you kind of have a little bit, Paul, but anyway, here it goes. So someone puts out a tweet saying, we are going to sign X. My question to the people that watch this video, please put your answers in the comments below, is what is the benefit to that information being out?
Well, again, this is just my opinion. It's not a benefit. It's just something to talk about. It's gossip.
But in my mind, I can see more. So if the information's going out as a smokescreen, so we can hit other targets, kind of see it, and maybe a bit of that was what the Bowling Insider was meant to do. Maybe, I don't know. But if they're genuine targets, then doesn't that open up other clubs' eyes?
That's yes and no. Like, you can't be naive enough to think that just by someone mentioning, we might sign Michy Batshuayi, for example, on Twitter, all the other clubs in the Premier League are going to go, oh, hang on a minute, we didn't think about that. That's a good idea. Let's go and sign him as well. That's ridiculous. There's no.
And if we were able to cut and go back, I wouldn't say that, actually, because No, it's true, and what you just said is true. And they don't monitor every single Twitter thing.
Oh, at the end of the day, their agent is the one who will tart them. They will go, right, Michi's available. Who wants you?
I did personally. Other than giving people something to debate, I can't see a benefit to it.
But that's it. That to me, that is the benefit. It is giving us something to talk about, and it's it's just something to talk about, and it's things to be like. I like thinking about. Oh, maybe we will sign these, and if we do sign them, then what'll happen to the team, and who else will we sign? And for me, I love all that. I love getting involved in all that. I don't take anything as gospel and think this is definitely going to happen. And if it don't happen, I get angry about it. Obviously, a lot of people do, and then people are stupid, in my opinion. But I just like that. I see it as I see it as quite interesting, and that that's my opinion on it.
Yeah. Let's leave that one. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. It's great to have Lee back. It's great to have the camaraderie between Lee and Paul. It's been missed. But I just want to touch on a couple of West Ham things. It's not going to be too much West Ham stuff because we'll go into the questions quite quickly. But I do want to say a massive congratulations to the under-23 side who have been promoted to the Premier Division of the under-23 side. Brilliant. There was a lot of calls actually again on Twitter to say that a lot of them youngsters should get a chance on Sunday against Burnley. What's your opinions on that, guys?
I don't think they will, given that they've just played a long match, and it's not Bilic's way. Frankly, we haven't seen that many youth players being integrated into the first side team, and for what it's worth, I could see some benefit. It's dangerous. I remember a few years ago, Sven was at Man City, and they played pretty much 11 homegrown players. And I think they lost like 7-0 or something to Southampton or Sunderland, or they lost 7-0. I can't remember who it was against. So it's dangerous, very dangerous. And we saw it ourselves at Nottingham Forest, didn't we, a few years ago when Sam did that. And maybe the point is not to throw 11 players in almost like Allardyce did. Maybe it was about 8 players. I don't think you will. I'd like it. How do we know if they're ever going to be good enough unless they play them?
That's right. Yeah. What do you make on Tony Martinez then? Because obviously he scored a few at Oxford. It didn't set the world alight down there, though. But he's come back and banged in 2.
What I will say is, having seen the goals, I think a Premier League goalkeeper would have saved them both.
Yeah.
They were soft. They were good finishes, but they were soft. Frankly,
I can't remember whether it was the first goal or the second goal. The keeper really should have saved it.
Yeah.
I think banged on from about 25 yards, weren't it?
Yeah.
I will say, sorry, I just want to say as well, it's probably worth mentioning while we're talking about the kids, Terry Wesley has been given a new contract.
There are some exciting players down there. I mention him nearly every week. Joe Powell, the guy who used to sort of train at Cumberland. Not I'm some expert footballer by any stretch of imagination, but he was like my star player in the team.
Do you think, given his job is to develop youth players, how long has he been at the club now? 4 years-ish?
Did he inherit a sort of a little bit of a not great a bunch and maybe starting to see what his progression's doing? You can't come in and have a great kids like that.
Well, if you look at the likes of the Reeses, for example, you'd say that was still very much Tony Carr. I don't know. Who have we actually brought in under him? That's a good question. Like Keena. What players? Keena, Martinez, obviously.
But recently, I don't know if this is a chronic problem at the club, lower down, but we seem to have taken to buy in young players rather than them coming up through the under-10s, under-11s, under-12s, which is what used to happen. I don't know if it's just, again, the way football's changed, but now we seem to be going out and buying them at 16, 17 and putting them in the development squad. It's a bit of a change of tact, actually. Yeah. Maybe it's a problem lower down at the club.
I agree. Obviously, I can't remember if I mentioned it last week or not. Obviously, Antonio has signed a new contract now, guys. Again, not a rumour, was on official website.
Can I say on that, though? My opinion on that is it means jack crap. If
I agree.
It just adds another $5 million to his fee.
Yeah. But great news, though.
It's great news.
But it just adds another $5 million to his fee.
Do you not think he deserved the money, though, Lee?
Oh no, he did 100% deserved it. But what I'm saying, it doesn't mean he's going to stay a West Ham player for the future. Sadly, and again, I keep coming back to this. This is modern football. Contracts mean diddly squat.
Yeah.
Again, I'm gonna have to stress it every time I say it on this channel. I feel like now a rumour. Lanzini, Everton. Apparently Lanzini's come out and said he's not moving anywhere.
Yeah, that's on the official site, actually, on the official website that came out.
Oh, well, there we go. So we can talk
he's
about
very
it.
happy.
Well, he's going to have to say that on the official site, isn't he? Lanzini, I don't see why he would go to Everton. I don't think Lanzini's going anywhere this year. I'll be very surprised if he's still here in 2 years.
I put this out on West Ham Fan TV. They put, I think it was a thing out about Antonio. Did Antonio sign a contract because he was promised investment and stuff? And I tweeted back to them saying, whatever Antonio got given, Lanzini needs to be given exactly the same. Do you agree? I see you nodding there, guys. So I assume you agree with my comment.
He's our best player.
Yeah.
Like I say, I do think though, regardless, unless we do something crazy in the next season, I'll be very surprised if he's still here in 2 years' time.
He's a real talent. I
think he's still got a bit to learn. I think his finishing could. It seems daft to say because there's been some great finishing, but there are times when.
Oh, there's still
decision making. Maybe decision making.
I think if we need to get in a really good striker to see the best from him, I think, and we need to get someone else maybe in midfield who's on his wavelength. Like you see a lot of the times last season, Lanzini and Payet linked up really well.
Fantastic, yeah.
They were obviously on the same wavelength, and I don't think we've got another player that's on that same wavelength at the moment at the club. There's no one really for him to play with and feed off of and do them little 1-2 triangles and things.
There's snippets with Ayew. I have to say there are some little snippets in fits and spurts. But I want to move on to the questions, guys, because we've sort of been filming for about half hour, haven't we? There's not really much to talk about this week apart from obviously Burnley. We're going to that game. Just touch on that. Burnley, very good home record. I think we're going to get beat, to be honest. I think the guys put their shoes on and they're on the beach now after the Liverpool match. One thing I do want to say, just before we get your opinions on Burnley, I think Fernandes, listen, he's a fantastic player, but me and Lee said it at the ground. He needs to be protected by your Kiatis, your Nobles, your Obiangs. That midfield got really overly exposed against Liverpool. I know that's a great midfield, but just what was your opinion on that, Fernandes? I think he does need big man next to him.
Yeah, I don't think Norvet Fernandes didn't work, frankly. I've defended Norvet for much of the season, as you know. He didn't cover himself in glory in the third goal, I think it was.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe Collins.
Yeah, I mean, a lot could be said about the defending on Sunday. But yeah, Fernandes, big fan. I think we all are. I think he's been our best signing that we made in the summer. Again, not that hard.
Pretty sure he won best signing at the awards, didn't he?
Yeah.
Official website.
Yeah.
So Burnley, guys, just very quickly. It's a nothing game.
It is a bit of an emotional one for me because obviously moving abroad next year, so I'm going and it's my last for a while, so a bit sad. But it's just a nothing game. I like going places like Burnley though because they seem like it's a proper football. It's none of that. You know, I like it. I like grounds like that, old-fashioned stadiums.
See, when I was young, when I was a boy.
It's a nothing game. I might get a draw, I guess.
Yeah, it's same. I'll be surprised if we turn up. I can see it being a very boring game. Neither team's got anything to play for. Just going through the motions, really. Get the season finished.
We can't finish top 10 now either, can we?
No.
So.
No. What does that? What does that say about Slav then? If again the rumours are to be believed that he could be off if he didn't get a top 10 finish. Does that change in any way?
I think again, there's something that we've said. Well, Lee hasn't been here, but last couple of weeks, me and you have said. I think this is the one. This is the one summer in a long time. I have not got a clue what's going to happen. No idea. I don't know whether they're going to keep him, whether they'll let him go. I don't know if they're going to back him and sign loads of players, or if they're going to sign nobody. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah. Let's go on to the questions then. there's quite a few. That's why I want to go, because I want to get a chance for everyone, because I really appreciate all the questions this week. Brendan from Facebook. Why are all the transfer rumours of players that the fans clearly don't feel will be of any help going forward for the club?
Straight in.
When are the boards going to consider putting their hands in their pockets and get some real prospects like they said they would?
Case in point. Seriously. Everything I was saying has just been summed up in that question. You see what I mean?
Paul?
Yeah, well, it's hard to disagree with that. Again, it's a case of like, yeah, we've been linked with all these players. Don't start panicking until we've signed them. If we sign them all, then start panicking. But
if
again,
it's 31st of August, if we've signed, I don't know if I keep saying it, I don't know if he's still playing Grant Holt, UC Escaline, and Colton Cole. Oh, actually, we love him.
Colton's always ready.
Yeah.
He's always.
Baz Tay comes back on a free. If that's the situation on the 31st of August, then by all means panic and slate the board. If that's the situation on the 1st of August, by all means panic and slate the board. But now, let's not believe everything we read.
The season's not even over yet.
No.
Patrick, what do you consider?
Case in point, seriously, that question. Yes. I understand it because a lot of people have the same questions. They do. So I've gone off again.
No, Lee, I'm very interested to see the feedback of the show today. I'm very interested to see what people say and where their loyalties lie in terms of this opinion.
But that is the point I was maybe not very articulately. That was the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, Patrick, what do you consider to be our best formation?
And that is from things like the. And the reason it was Brendan, and I appreciate the question. I really do. That the reason he asked that question is because he's read it on rumours and gossip and things, and none of it is as far as we know, true. Could be, but we don't know.
Yeah. Patrick, what do you consider to be our best formation, and do you believe the size of the pitch makes any difference to our performances this season?
I don't think the size
do
of the
like
pitch
5 at the back, I have to say. Yeah,
sorry, Luke. Yeah, talk straight over there.
Thank you.
No, I was just going to say, I don't think the size of the pitch makes any difference. I agree. I'd like to think of it as a 3 at the back rather than a 5 at the back, but let's be honest, it is really a 5 at the back. But no, I think that formation seems to suit us quite well.
Yeah. I think the only reason it was exposed at Liverpool is because of midfield. We didn't have the people to do the dirty work in front of them.
Yeah, Sunday apart, I think Fonts looked a much better player in a back 3.
I think it's the way forward in football as well.
Interestingly,
it's the way forward.
When Bonner comes back next summer, obviously he played on the left of a back 3 at Juventus as well, so it'd be interesting to see him there as well.
Yeah. Craig, so next season, are we going to finish higher in the table now? We played nearly a year at our new ground and surely have got used to the pitch by now.
I think if Slav is backed in the summer, we no longer have the excuse of it being a new stadium. There wouldn't be any more excuses.
I agree. Again, I don't think you can blame the pitch anyway. A pitch is a pitch at the end of the day. You can possibly put blame on the stadium. Look, even as fans, Lee, we could admit this, that it took time. It took time. People have been sitting next to each other for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And to sit next to new people is getting the confidence of being able to sing with them and all that sort of stuff. So,
and it was always going to be like that. It was always going to be like that. And it was never going to be. I think this year,
have that next year as well. Tottenham are going to have that same sort of feeding in period as well.
You know what sometimes helps as well is a good cup run. We haven't had that this year. It just helps to sort of bit of a buzz. I remember last year we got to the quarterfinals and the buzz. I know we was doing well in the league as well, but having a cup run, it just creates that bit of.
Yeah, last year was fantastic with the cup run. Martin, very similar question. Mine. Billets needs a set formation. What is it? And players that can play in that way. Who are they? What do we need? Why not consider, I assume taking like the Barcelona sort of tactic, and moulding our youth team to play in that formation as well?
It makes sense. Sorry, I keep jumping in quickly. I do apologise. What I would say is, if you look at Chelsea and Tottenham, Chelsea and Tottenham, let's look at them two. You could pretty much guess their 1 to 11 every week. Pretty much. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think Bilic knew these, mate. I don't think Slav knew this year.
No. So I think the point is, and it is a squad game, and you do need good players to come in. But wholesale changes, I don't think work. I don't think in this day and age. I think Pep's found that this season. Pep tried to make lots of changes at the start. He didn't really find a settled side. I think he's learned from that towards the end. You watch him now; he's playing the same team pretty much week in, week out.
Sorry, I just want to say, I think maybe what Martin was getting at there, more than having two different teams to play different games, I think he meant maybe you was having a plan B. So if something's not working, can you switch up the formation? Like, mate, I think that's maybe what he was getting at, rather than saying about just changing the team every week.
I think a couple of times, like, remember Palace at home this year, we started with Antonio played right wing back first half, 0-0. Then at half time he made the changes. He put Lanzini in the hole, put Antonio up front, and we ended up winning the game 3-0. He tried to do it on Saturday, so he took Font off and brought on...
Shocking decision.
Who did he bring on? I can't remember.
Faguli?
Yes. Who actually did well.
Yeah,
Faguli did well, but to go into a 4 at the back, he went to a 4 at the back and we conceded 2 goals in the space of like 5 minutes, so it's not, obviously didn't work, but yeah. I think there's signs of that.
David Smith, why do we keep players that have no idea what it means to play for West Ham, and we need to get rid of the crap and get in some true grit? Listen, in the generation we live in, you don't get many of who knows what it's about to play for West Ham. That's not discrediting your question in any way, but how many of Man City's starting lineups sat at Main Road watching Man City play?
Do you know, I put a tweet out again, and I put a friendly tweet out the other day, saying I'm reading Rio Ferdinand's book. He doesn't mention West Ham, hardly. I can count on one hand the amount of times he mentions West Ham. This is someone who we gave him his big chance, and it's all about Man United. Maybe that's because the audience he was after, that was where he was, it just left. But there is no loyalty in football anymore. Unfortunately, it's the way it goes. People, he makes a good point in the book, actually. Him and Frank Lampard were best friends growing up, like proper, really, really best friends. But as soon as they were playing for Man United and Chelsea, they hardly spoke to each other because the rivalry was there in football.
Well, but at the end of the day as well, it's work. Like, how many jobs have you left? How many jobs have you left in the past, and you still talk to someone from that job?
Yeah, it's quite rare. You maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's a job. These ain't friends. Yeah, you might meet work friends, but once you leave a place, they're not people you would choose to associate with.
You just read the question
together in life.
You just read the question again.
It's about players that understand what it's about to play for West Ham.
Well, maybe that's a bit of a... Maybe they need a teaching. Are they getting that?
Maybe you have to go.
I was going to mention, you say like that about British players, but I was going to mention, what about Lanzini? If anyone, I'd say Lanzini gets it. He works hard. He seems to love playing for West Ham. He seems to love the fans and love the response he gets from the fans. Is that not what it's about to play for West Ham? And he's from Argentina. So I don't think it necessarily has to be players that are played in England. Do you know what I mean?
I think you need to get the West Ham thing. I think they need to show passion. Like the South American boys are fantastic at that. You think of Sanchez, Aguero's, etc. They give 100% every time they play these South American guys. I think it's just finding the right guys that want to give it some.
Do you know something else as well? When you were showing new signings around Upton Park, you could literally smell the history. Yeah. You walked in there. It smelled like wee, but you could smell it. You're showing people around the Olympic Stadium, and yes, Usain Bolt did fantastic things there, but there's no West Ham history in that stadium yet. Let's hope in the future there will be.
Well, there's a massive painting of an Andy Carroll overhead kick.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Right, let's move on. Steve, why is Carroll still on the payroll? I thought that fitted in quite nicely there. Are we becoming a mud club? Sell the club and sell the guy and get some proper players that wanted to graft.
It's all right to say that, isn't it? You've got to find someone to buy him.
Yeah. I like Andy. I do like the guy, but I totally agree. It can't carry on. It's a lot of money to get like 10 games out of him a year. And it's the lies again. It's the lies of, he's only going to be out for 2 weeks. And then it ends up 4 weeks, 6 weeks.
I don't think they're lies, personally. I think maybe I see the good in people. I think genuinely he's just not very good at recovery. So the average player, and maybe they need to take this into account. So Antonio, for example, earlier in the season, he did get a hamstring injury and he was back in like 2 weeks, which is like half the time a hamstring injury. So maybe it's the comms they're getting wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe just to latch on to what Paul said as well. And I had this I have a bit more. It's a bit of a wider issue. People like Fagudi, Snodgrass, who I think has been a huge disappointment. If they are on decent money, it'd be very hard to shift them. Why would you? Why would you leave?
Why would you leave? Why would you leave? Yeah. Brad Wright, what youth players do you think could be in the first team next year? Maybe Reece Oxford will finally get his bow. Possibly, he might start getting a few games, especially in a back three. He'll be protected with two beside him, so he might get a bit of a chance in there.
I think it depends on injuries. I don't think any of them are ready to come into the first team as it stands. Like you say, maybe
Josh Cullen. I would like to see him. Maybe
I would like to see it, but it's who do they replace is the question. Do you know what I mean? And none of them are better. Obviously it's hard to know without seeing them play and giving them a chance, but you'd have to say at the moment no one stands out as being better than what we've got, apart from maybe Tony Martinez to be given a shot up front. But again, it depends who we sign. I'd like to see, like you say, maybe by considering injuries and suspensions, to see some of the kids come in. But then, would it do them better to be out playing week in, week out on loan, or would it do them better to be sitting on the bench at West Ham waiting for an injury to happen? I don't know. I'd
rather see him out on loan personally. He's worked well in the past.
Yeah.
As long as they're going to play, like look at Marcus Brown's gone to Wigan. I think he's played 3 times. Reece Oxford hardly got a kick at Reading. Meant to be the best thing last spread.
It did wonders for people like Tompkins and even Noble early doors when they actually played good 20 games.
Going back further than that, Rio Ferdinand, Frank Lampard, Jermaine Defoe all went out on loan. Yeah. And look at the players they've turned into. Just while we mentioned his name, good luck to Josh Cullen and Bradford. Beat Millwall, please.
Yes. Melvin, when will Gold, Sullivan and Brett, when are they going to go? I don't know. Again, some the stuff you read out there says that they won't have to pay any percentage of the profits in 2027, I think it was. So I expect them to hang around.
10 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I expect them to hang around till 2027.
You say that? I don't want to be a bit crass, but that's a long time for especially a man like David Gold. 10 years? I don't want to say it, but he might not be around then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. And I don't know if they've got the means or the resources to keep us going for another 10 years and competing. I really don't.
No. For what it's worth, I'm not in the get 'em out club at the moment.
Not at the moment. Not at the moment.
Personally.
Oh, my daughter's just screaming there outside the room. Greg, what do you expect from the club for the next season in terms of where we can finish and new signings? We sort of touched on it. A nice top 10 finish, I think, again, a top 8 finish. In signings, just something that can improve the first 11. Not just fillers.
What I think people have to realise is, unless something drastic happens, the top 6 is set in stone, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. That takes a building process to get to that.
I think Everton, they're so far ahead. I think Everton and Man United in 6th. Anyway, 6th. Everton are so far ahead. I think they're in 7th. They're so far ahead from, I think it's West Brom in 8th, that the gap is just unreal. And I know it's not really been a weird season. Last year was a weird season. This year, Chelsea won the league.
Back to normality, really.
Yeah. So it's going to be incredible. And every year, the more TV money that comes in, the gap is closing in terms of people in the Champions League are different because they get the extra resource that comes in through the Champions League. But for everyone else, there's not much gap. And so, as the table shows at the moment, the gap between 8th and bottom really isn't that much.
I agree. Mark, I think we should get rid of Carroll, Noble, Cagliari, Faguli, Randolph, Barham, Snodgrass, Ayew, and Fonte and Nordvet. Do you agree?
Well, who will we play?
Ayew, no. I know he had that bad miss the other day, but no, I think he'll be good to stay, personally. I know people can disagree, but I'd like to see Nordvet giving another go.
Yeah, I would.
To be honest,
midfield.
I think the only players I would actively be saying get rid of would be the likes of Sacco. I'd be happy to keep Carroll as a backup. Most of the players that haven't really done it, are the likes of on loan, like Cagliari, Torre will probably obviously go back if he hasn't already.
Yeah.
Faguli, I think, could be a useful player. Nordvik could be a useful player. There's no one I'd say I want to actively get rid of. Snodgrass is disappointed.
I think Kalievi's had his chance.
Well, that's what I mean. He's on loan anyway, so it doesn't. He'll probably go at the end of the season regardless. But yeah, Snodgrass has been a massive disappointment. We're not going to get our money back for him. And like Lee says, why would he go when he's earning what's rumoured to be very good money anyway? I don't want to see a massive clear out. I want to see us build on what we've got, basically.
Yeah. Tony, if the owners back Slav with big money, do you trust Slav to buy the right players? That's a very good question.
Tough one.
I think it all depends on how much input Slav does this
is what we don't know. From the sounds of things, it's him, Tony Emery and Sullivan all sit down together and discuss targets. I don't know. You'd say he's had his fair share of hits and his fair share of misses, really, wouldn't you? Unfortunately, the window just gone. More misses than hits. But I don't know. It'd be interesting. One thing I will say is it'd be interesting if to give him a decent amount of money to spend this summer and to see what he does with it. It would be interesting to see.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Just let him see what he will buy. Yeah.
Then he can have no excuse, and the fans can't defend him. And yeah. I've defended Bilic all season.
No, I have. Yeah, there was some Bilic out periods, but that was purely because I didn't want to see him hung out to dry as the scapegoat for what has been a bad transfer window that's caused all of the problems this year, really. Andy Smith, if you could pick between finishing fourth next season or winning the FA Cup, which would you choose?
We had this discussion last season when it was a reality. And I think for me, it's the Cup.
Yeah, I would say the Cup. As much as the Champions League is the prestige and the players you can attract, I don't know, actually.
See, I think I actually said this last year. In fact, I'm almost certain I said it last year. I would take fourth in the Champions League because this when it was possibly a reality last year, the reasoning for it was that was could well be a once in a lifetime opportunity for us. You can win a cup every year. Every year you've got another chance to win a cup. The chance of breaking into that top four in the Premier League and getting in the Champions League, that's a once in a decade if you're lucky. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's a much rarer chance, and the things that can bring to the club is much more than winning, say, the FA Cup.
But if you do it consistently.
Even yes and no. The fact that, I mean, I suppose you could look at Leicester and say, well, didn't really help them too much, but I don't know. I suppose it depends how you went about it.
It's mate, that chance. I think we've got one, maybe two more. Mark, after somebody's performance versus Liverpool, should Norvet be given to Millwall on a free? And do you think it made some fans, including myself, realise how important Mark Noble is to West Ham? Thanks for the show, guys. Enjoyed him thoroughly. Thank you, Mark. Well, everyone knows my opinion about Mark Noble. There's no point carrying it on. Yes, Nordvet doesn't need to go. I quite like Nordvet, actually. I think when he's been playing in his right position, he's been good. In terms of Mark, I have to say, my opinion sort of swayed a little bit in terms of, okay, we do need him for your games like your Tottenhams. Yeah,
we've said this, haven't we?
Your London derbies. I totally agree with that, but he's not, for me, the regular starting 11 again. What do you think, guys? I think there's a time and a place for the guy.
Yeah, we've made this point on the show a few weeks ago, I think, or one of the vlogs. I can't remember which. That we said there are games for him, and he's not going to be playing on Saturday. But as an example, Burnley away isn't one of them. I think he's fantastic if you 1-0 up and you want to kill off a game, and you want someone to play the safe ball, which he does very well. My biggest annoyance with him is that he doesn't take any risks. And to be a top player in the central midfield, you have to take risks, and he just doesn't. Yeah,
I agree. I totally agree with that, Lee. That's it for the questions, guys. Some of the questions were very similar, so I hope I've answered your questions. A lot of you were saying about what players we should buy and whether Bilic is this. So if I didn't mention your name, I do apologise, but I hope we've covered it through answering questions from other people as well. That's it from this week, guys. Next week, hopefully Lee will be with us again. It will be the season review. So we'll be going through, obviously, all the way from August to now to discuss.
That'd be depressing.
Yeah, not as good as last year's one, and sort of discuss what went wrong and what we feel in general of the London Stadium and what we can hope for in the summer. So if there's anything you want us to cover, guys, we please put the topics out there, guys, and we'll sort of discuss it. What has been your highlights of the season? What has been your lowlights of the season? Drop them in the comments. Give us a like. Subscribe as well, please, if you can.
Oh, we have a vacancy
Anything
for
else,
a social media manager, don't we, as well? So,
yeah. Lee's been sacked.
Like to be our social media manager, please drop some comments.
Rule number 1 is never tweet before 7 a.m.
Yes. That's it from this week, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, this show is not out there to offend anyone. It's an opinion-based show. It's for the West Ham fans, and that's all we like talking about, just talking about West Ham. Until next week, as I say, check out West Ham Fan Zone. Like, comment, subscribe. Keep believing. Come on, you irons. Let's go.
Cheers.